Welcome to another episode of the Totally Spec Show. Today I have English wrestler, English wrestling manager, Aron Blanchard.
Hello mate, alright?
Thanks for coming on,
No
mate.
problem,
Nice to
brother,
see
no
you.
problem.
Stay tuned and I hope you enjoy the interview.
Right, thanks for coming on today. Let's go back to the beginning. Where was you born? What was your childhood like growing up?
Alright, so I grew up in Worcester. I was born in Worcester, and childhood was pretty good. Up until the age of about 11 or 10, I grew up on a dairy farm.
Alright.
So that was pretty cool. It was quite a big dairy farm in the Midlands. It's no longer there. The farmer realised that Tesco's was going to take over the world, so he sold up and moved on.
Yeah.
Then, like, mum and dad, marriage went tits up. So it was alright. Yeah, childhood was pretty good. I was quite busy as a kid.
You got any brothers, sisters?
I got one sister.
Still see you?
Yeah, she lives in Blackpool now.
Alright.
So my mum lives in Blackpool now. My dad's still in the Worcester area. But it's childhood was pretty good, and I was always around like the farm and around food and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So how did you find school?
It was it wasn't for me.
What's that smoke for?
It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me, brother. It wasn't for me. I did all right up until they put me on a project. Because I wasn't great at school. I was there for a social event and just to have a little bit of a laugh, like, to be honest, more than anything.
Yeah.
They put me on a project to learn me a trade. It was like a national trial for the whole UK.
Yeah.
So at the age of 14, I went to start going to college, leaving school twice a week to go to college and learn how to be a chef.
Alright.
And
Is that something you've done in the future then?
yeah, that's what I've done for 23 years. So
Yeah.
I've been a chef for 23 years. So
Alright.
I left school because of that, because I was put into a hotel on a placement, and I realised I could make more money than be at school. So
Yeah.
about 15, I had a letter saying, please don't come back to school. So I literally left school when I was about 15 and had nothing.
Did you do any sports in school?
Yeah, I played, I was the captain of the basketball team for the whole of my school thing when I was there. I played rugby, of course.
Yeah.
I did discus and shot and stuff. Even though I was a little guy, I was quite small, but really strong, because like, during all that other time, I was also a sea cadet, and I was really big into kayaking and stuff, and did quite well at that. So I was quite.
I was just going to ask you, how did you get into kayaking? About 14, is it?
Yeah, so I started kayaking when I was about 12, 13.
Where was that, in Worcester?
In the sea cadets in Malvern, which is just outside Worcester.
Yeah.
My dad was helping out at the time through a friend and stuff. So when I became old enough, to see me dad at weekends, I just joined. Let's spend time with him. I literally travelled the country and then got into kayaking.
Yeah.
And
Did you win a medal, didn't you?
I've won 3 British championships. So I won 1 at 14 and then 2 at 16, and a silver medal as well, the British championships.
So what's that kayaking for people who may not know?
It was underage. So like people call it canoeing.
Canoeing, yeah.
The canoeing's really like one half a paddle, like they could sit in a canoe.
Right.
But kayaking's 2 paddles. So I used to do I did a marathon event, which is 1 mile marathon. Then when you get over 15, it becomes 2 miles. So I've won nationals of that a couple of times in doubles and stuff, and got to travel around the country and do.
How did you keep that going in the future?
When I got to 17, I really wanted to have a good pop at taking it further, and the next level really was to go join a big team. But the Sea Cadets back then was one of the biggest competitions in the UK because the amount of people that would enter.
Alright.
Because you had to get to the national championships, you had to do 3 different events.
Yeah.
And then you also had to then go to a training week and get selected.
Yeah.
So it was hard graft. Like get up in the morning for we did a week training. So you get up in the morning like 6 in the morning, do 2 sprint time trials, then have breakfast, then on the water for 8 hours, training constantly, and then do more time trials, and then that was the day. Yeah, so it was amazing. It was something different.
I loved it. You could see the won medals at kayaking, is it?
Yeah, so I was British champion 3 times, 3 golds and a silver. I wanted to take it to the next level, but there just wasn't any money or anything involved then.
Yeah.
I got a little bit injured on my last year, damaged my shoulder a little bit.
Yeah.
I was fit as a fiddle then. I was literally walking around like Bruce Lee. So.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty ripped. So.
What did you do on leaving school then? Like you said, you didn't finish school. You went on.
No, I started chefing straight away as soon as the opportunity came up. I worked out that I could make money and the family needed it.
So basically, that was your first job you had?
Yeah, so I worked in one of the large hotels in Worcester at the time. I think it's no longer there. I think maybe it's a car park now.
Yeah.
It was for the Forte company. It was quite big Forte.
So you was the main chef, is it?
No, I was just one of the young lad
Just
trainees.
one
One, so I used to like run the starter section.
Yeah.
But everyone thought I was an adult because I was there. So they didn't realise that I was actually only a kid.
Yeah.
So I lived the drinking life quite early on. So yeah, it was good.
How did you get into wrestling?
Oh, right. So once I left, I decided to take about a year out of catering and go and get some education. Because at 19 at this point, I had no education. I was working stupid hours, so I went back to college to get my GCSEs, and I got a part-time job at a supermarket. Yeah. And there was a guy there I met, and he was a big wrestling fan, and I used to go and train with him in the gym. And then the one day he said, I've just met this wrestler a few weeks ago, bumped into him accidentally talking to him. He's got a show, there's a show coming up in Worcester soon, do you want to go to it? So I was like, yeah, no worries. So I liked wrestling as a kid and stuff, everyone did. And about 2 or 3 months before that, I got home from working late, and I was flicking through the old 1, 2, 3, 4 channels on telly.
Yeah.
I was making some grub, and it came up, the old Channel 4 thing came up with a picture of the Big Show and The Rock, and it said WWF Royal Rumble.
Alright, yeah.
And I just left that on.
Yeah.
And then the Cactus Jack versus Triple H Street Fight was the main
Alright.
match. Blew my mind. I started watching it again.
So you had about 19?
Yeah, so just 18. So like I said, so a friend said, I've met this wrestler, his name was Johnny the Body.
Yeah.
There's a show running in the area, do you want to go and watch it? And it was for a company called ESEW, who later changed into PCW.
Alright.
Run by Rich Price. And John was there. So I met John, and he said, look, I got another show coming up very soon. I can't remember what it was. Come to the show beforehand, because I had a decent look as well.
Johnny Body.
Yeah, Johnny Body said, come to the show beforehand, we'll get you in the ring, see how you get on.
Yeah.
So that happened. I got in the ring for a couple of hours for the show. They beat me up for a good couple of hours, like running ropes, taking bumps.
And that's PCW.
Yeah, it was for some.
Training.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
but John was doing it. It wasn't. It was just using their ring kind of thing. So I took some bumps, run the ropes, slams, suplexes, clotheslines, all that lot.
Yeah.
And that was on a Saturday. On the following Wednesday, I had a phone call from John saying, there's a show in for K-Star Wrestling on Friday in Canton in Birmingham.
Right.
I got you a spot in the Rumble. So less than 6 days after getting into a wrestling ring, he said,
He was in the Rumble?
I said, have you got any gear? He said,
Yeah.
by the way, I got this pair of wrestling boots. You can buy them off of me for 50 quid. So I bought these wrestling boots straight off John, and me, John, and the
Did you have a character name then? Or
Bull.
did you just...
No, I had some like martial arts style black trousers, and I had a red wrestling mask that I bought just messing around.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, so I got dressed and stuff. One of the guys got, oh my god, you look like Kato from the Midnight Express in WWE. So that's what I got announced as. So the announcer announced me in the Rumble as Kato from the WWE. I was in there for about 3 minutes. Mad Dog threw me out, which was the first of about the next 6 months worth of Rumbles where Mad Dog threw me out every week. But no, yeah, so literally 6 days after getting in the ring.
6 days. I think that's some sort of record.
I think it was a bit stupid. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew a lot of the guys that were there because it turned out that some of the guys that I went to school with were all wrestlers and I didn't know.
Yeah.
So they looked after me. They was really good. The Bull especially, he looked after me loads.
So who was you at school with? Who were the wrestlers?
So the Bull was a couple of years older than me.
Yeah.
Another guy, do you remember Sam Daniels? He was there. He was a year younger than me.
Yeah.
Rich Price was in my school as well, so I knew who he was, but he's a couple of years older than Nick, the Bull as well.
Yeah.
And I think there was one more.
So was you training every week then?
Yeah, so it was. I had a bit of a gap then. I did a little bit of thing, and I started doing shows for John. John took me under his wing, and I'd travel all over.
Well, that was HCW by then. It was still a different name.
Well, HCW was kind of me, John, and this other guy, Russ, started it. So HCW was actually the HCW thing. He wanted to use those initials because he asked them from HCW in America.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to call it, and I came up with the name Headlock. So it was Headlock Championship Wrestling.
Right.
That was just us in a car, just talking one day.
Yeah.
So I was putting into the shows. They were okay, and I'd always have an open match and get beat up a little bit. But
Remember anyone you wrestled on them?
I wrestled. I was always like in tags to start with. One of my first proper matches was against Cade Callis.
Yeah.
The ring was fucking god awful.
Yeah.
During the show, the boards actually moved, so I took a choke slam onto the bar, metal bar. But Callis was amazing. He looked after me loads. I like.
He couldn't be much older than you.
No, he was younger than me, but he'd been around
Really
for a bit
young,
longer. Yeah, he was running with Mad Dog, so he'd been around for ages. So he looked after me. I wrestled the Bull in tag matches. I think it was me and the Coal Miners versus the Bull, Nick Knight, and another guy, and they looked after me. And that was literally the same deal with them do a Rumble. That was literally the same deal I had for about a few months, so I just wrestled the same guys.
Didn't you have Tracy Smothers doing a seminar, PCW, or was that later on?
That was later on. I met Tracy a lot later from that. This was about 2003-ish, I'd say.
Right.
2002, 2003. I think I got. So I spent loads of time with Tracy Smothers. He lived with Bone for a bit when he was down here and stuff.
All right, yeah.
So he was always around, and we used to go for dinner and stuff, and used to train with him and stuff. What a dude! And we travelled a load of places together. I spent like 5 or 6 hours in a van with him once, which was entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
He'd always put me over when we go to shows. He did a seminar for 1PW, and they were doing him and Chris Hamrick. They were covering Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
It was quite a big show. I think Cayman even turned up to watch it. It was in Doncaster. And before the show, they did a seminar, and there was about 100 trainees there. Yeah. And me and John was just sat watching, and there was these 2 young lads that were struggling with the lockup. Yeah. So we showed them the lockup, and next thing I know, Tracy's got everybody watching me and John, and we're doing this lockup. But my favourite Tracy story is, so Tracy had that big deal, they did the one night stand in ECW.
Yeah.
One night stand. And JBL popped the blue meanie.
Yeah.
Bust him up. And Tracy got his hands on him.
Yeah.
Then the next night on another show, Tracy got a promo. Did you ever see the promo he cut?
No.
He offered to fight JBL real life, money on the line, house, stuff like that.
All right.
But he'd never seen the ECW show where it all kicked off.
Yeah.
So he came to my house after going for dinner one day, so we're having a drink and whatnot and chilling, and he brought up, someone asked, I think it was about the meanie story.
Yeah.
And he said that he'd never seen it, so I was like, I'll fucking put it on then, because I had it.
Right.
So he'd never seen it, so I got to watch his reaction to what happened.
He wasn't in the Rumble that night.
He was in the Rumble. He was
but
in
he
the
didn't
ring.
see it actually happen.
He saw Meanie get punched, and he tried to get his hands on JBL. And
right, yeah.
Bubba Ray kind of pulled JBL under the bottom because they knew that it was going down, like there was blood everywhere. But Tracy was sat in my house, and he was getting so pumped up watching it.
Yeah.
Because he was fucking. This was like a couple of weeks after. She was really fucking angry about it all. Still, she was getting really pumped up. I think T-Bone was there, Ash and stuff. He was getting real pumped up. And when it happened, he fucking shot up, and then he went through my ceiling. I was in the flat, right?
He's not a small man.
No, he's not a small bloke. And he was fucking sparring away, man. He was so angry. But I got to watch him watch it for the first ever time.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Tracy. The stories about that Tracy would tell me is just sitting with him in a van for 5 hours.
Oh,
we picked him up from Newcastle one day.
Yeah.
And so we were like getting smashed on the way back. So we were like me and Tracy were just like literally giggling to ourselves, just taking the piss out of people. But man, I learned so much from him. It was just nice to be around. Real fun guy, loved life. I heard he's really poorly at the moment. So Tracy, get well soon, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I miss talking to him. I used to talk to him quite a bit still. But
yeah, good bloke. Won the Celtic Wrestling title, didn't he?
What a dude, mate. But him having me and John show people in his seminar to lock up.
Yeah.
And like he put me around at that 1PW show. So he introduced me to called Scorpio. Yeah. I spent the rest of the evening with Chris Hamrick.
Yeah.
Legit funny man Hamrick. Literally, like with his little tobacco bottle and stuff. What a dude. I love Chris Hamrick. But no, he was like, Tracy looked after us. We'd sell his merch and stuff, and he'd literally always look after us. What a lovely bloke. I love spending time with him. So
awesome.
That's my Tracy Smothers story, and he went through my fucking ceiling. So yeah, I started in 2002.
So what was your actual first name when you was a wrestler?
I had so many gimmicks. I wrestled as Aron, my real name, and they added the tagline, the next generation. Johnny used to come up with loads of gimmicks and stuff, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then later on, between all the wrestling as well, I was managing for PCW. I'm managing the champ Sam Daniels, and then Nick Knight as well. So I was managing back and forth. So the managing thing was always there.
Yeah. Didn't Sam become a tag team with someone, Ash Steele or something?
Yeah, him and Ash became the
I
KC
know.
Sunshine and somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, wrestling food thing.
Yeah. So I managed those guys. I managed back and forth between the wrestling thing.
So one of the names I remember for you was Diamond Dean Dillon.
Yeah. So,
Where did that come from?
no, do you know what? I always got stuck with like horseman names. All right, yeah, I'm a bit of a horseman fan and stuff, but I always ended up stuck with it. I managed as like AJ Dillon as well at one point. But the Diamond Dean Dillon thing, I had my gears got like a diamondy thing on, and it just kind of happened one day. I'd go to shows sometimes and never know what I was going to be announced as, and that was quite.
So other than the Rumble, who would you say was your very first match? Just one-on-one.
Well, my first official match, according to the press, was Cade Callis.
Well,
But I wrestled John the night before in Tewkesbury.
Right, yeah.
So, according to the press, it was Cade Callis in my hometown in Malvern. That's
Yeah.
where the press was involved, because I was my hometown.
How did you find that match with Johnny?
Yeah, John was great. We did.
Good work, yeah.
I wrestled John probably, I want to say maybe 100 times, maybe more.
Yeah.
It's just we travelled all over the place, and for a solid year or two.
Yeah.
I travelled with John everywhere, and that's what I got my name about. We did a set match, and we had like 2 or 3 different finishes. But it was always good. We wrestled. We worked for Blondie Barrett a lot. We go up there up north and wrestled for Blondie. That was always fun. So Bob says.
So you was now part of HCW.
Yeah.
Was you picking matches for the show and the rest?
No. I
Or
was putting a bit of dollar in and just I came up with the names, put a dollar in, and just like being part of the show and learning from like the guys there and how it was done really, because I was literally green. I didn't go to a wrestling school. I was literally training on the go in shows. So
If I remember right, Mad Dog Max had a promotion as well. Just before HCW, did you ever wrestle for them?
K-Star.
That was K-Star.
K-Star, yeah. That was the Steve Logan's thing. Steve Logan, the World Sport guy. So he owned his gym.
So that's the Rumble you done, is it?
I did that Rumble.
So that was
for him.
Mad Dog Max's.
Yeah,
K-Star.
him and Sal Americano, I think were.
I remember him,
Sal?
like-
Sal was a great work guy. I love Sal.
Very funny guy, wasn't he?
Very great guy. He was cool. So on Sundays as well, every so often we used to go up on a bus and a train to Birmingham from Worcester and train at K-Star. That was always entertaining. Horrible place, but always good bit of training. And like Marcus Cool would be training.
Yeah.
Loads of guys. Cade would be there. Loads of Birmingham
You
guys.
stopped for a while then. What was any reason?
No, I can't. I'm not even sure myself. Like my life had changed a little bit. I had a new girlfriend at the time. Blah blah blah. And I just took a step back a little bit, and I wasn't really. I was like 20, 21, and I just had a little bit of a break, and I kind of partied for a bit and back to work kind of thing.
I think you had about a year off. And,
Yeah, about a year it was. Yeah.
You joined PCW from the Midlands, and they asked you to manage the champion, didn't they?
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
So I literally was walking. I changed chefing for a little bit and got myself a 9-to-5 job because I was getting a bit tired of the chefing, the hours and stuff. And I literally crossed over the road, and a car pulled up really quickly beside me, and it was Rich Price and Nick, and they were saying that they've changed ESEW, PCW, and can I go back to them and manage Sam Daniels as their champion, which happily did. And then I started, I did a big run for them. They started a wrestling training at the school.
What was your manager name, man?
I think I managed as AJ Dillon at that point. So it was
AJ Dillon.
yeah. And the Blanchard thing was starting to float around.
So where did customised Aron Blanchard come from?
When you asked me to manage you, I thought I didn't really have a little gimmicky thing as a manager, and I wanted to do something differently. And if you remember, I had purple hair at the time.
Yeah.
And I had my suit jackets and stuff done, and all my logos and my jackets, and my gear was pretty nice. And it just came up with being customised, because all my clothes literally were
So
customised.
when you got to Celtic Wrestling, that's when you got.
Yeah, that's when I
the
became
name for that.
customised. I'd like to give each promotion like a different thing, and so it's theirs. Like when I wrestled for Blondie Barrett, I was Bruiser Brett Savage.
Right.
So, and that would change sometimes depending on what mood Bob was in. So I'd be Bruiser Brett Savage up there and do a completely different deal up there. When I wrestled for HCW, I was Texas Aron Blanchard. Do a cowboy gimmick there, which I weren't great at.
So you wrestled quite a few promotions then?
Yeah,
Is that all around the Midlands then, or did you travel?
I was travelling up to the north, like Sheffield and stuff for Bob and Great Yarmouth and whatnot. I think I wrestled Scarborough a few times for HCW because John was promoting wherever he could at the time. and then I got onto UCW shows. I did a Pro EV show because Manson missed his flight.
Yeah.
And I happened to have my gear there. So wherever John was going to a show, even if I wasn't booked, I was there with him.
Take a kit, yeah.
And I always had my gear with me, and that's how I got onto WWO, the one show in the afternoon.
So about 6 months later, you got back into wrestling, I think it was HEW again.
Yeah.
And you got, as well as you was managing the PCW champion. You was then known as Texan Aron Blanchard, is it?
Yes, I was, yeah.
So you won the HEW Unified title?
Yeah, I was the first
How did that
one.
come about? Who did you beat?
John had a smaller championship, and I think it was done in like some venue called the George Dowlis title.
Right.
It was done for a certain show, and I went over on that show. I think I had 4 matches in the show. One of them was against Gilligan Gordon.
Yeah.
And a couple of other guys, I can't remember. The Bull was one. So I won my first singles title, and then he said, then about 6 months later, so I'd walk around, I'd do quite a few tag matches, like, and have the bout and stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
And then he said, look, I've got this outdoor show coming up in Kidderminster. You're working Cayman. Now, I knew who Cayman was. I'd met him. I'd been to some a couple of Celtic shows, and John used to do lots of double headers. So like,
how did you know? How would you travel to Wales then? Did you travel with
John?
Roddy?
I drove with John, and sometimes T-Bone would be with us because during all this
Can
time.
you remember if you managed the Celtic again?
No, I didn't manage until you approached me.
So you'd done nothing before?
I did nothing before. I've been there a few times. I think that one of the times I went there was the Eugene seminar. But I've been and watched a few shows and used to run afternoon shows in the Merthyr, old bar in Merthyr.
Yeah.
We were going to another show for John Coppin in the evening.
Right.
So John was wrestling for Celtic. I think he was tagging with Mad Dog.
Yeah.
So we pulled into the Merthyr to watch the afternoon show. Then we went off to another show. So I was travelling with T-Bone. John was with the Bull. We sat and we watched the show. I think Zack Sabre Jr. was on, Pedder was on, you were on, Sugar was on, Cayman.
Yeah.
Blockbuster, there was a guy called Blockbuster.
Oh,
He used to do Exodus and stuff, he was on.
Yeah.
And I met Bolt for the first time there. He come and sat by us and had a chat, which was quite cool.
Yeah. So going back to the Kidderminster outdoor show, you and Cayman.
Oh, right, yeah, so I met Cayman.
So you the champion by then, is it?
So I was the one champion, yeah. So
Yeah.
John wanted to get rid of that smaller bout because it was only done for like a promotional thing, and have one
So
champion.
was Cayman's title on the line?
Cayman was so Cayman was the HW heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And I had this other smaller bout, and John wanted to unify them and have the unified heavyweight title.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, so you're wrestling Cayman on this show, and you're going over and you're having both bouts.
Yeah.
You're having this one title. Shit myself, because I know Cayman, and
Yeah.
I've spoken to him about getting on to Celtic as a wrestler, and he was perfectly honest. He said, look, dude, my roster is so big at the moment.
Yeah.
It was huge at one point. So yeah, all respect. Found,
So did you win that match?
yeah, so I went over Cayman, yeah.
So how did you win the Celtic belt? Or was it just for the HEW?
The HEW, yeah. So it was.
So Cayman's belt won on the line?
Cayman's belt wasn't on. He had the HEW heavyweight belt.
Right.
I had this other title, and John wanted to take them, put them together, to make one unified heavyweight champion. So yeah, so I had about six months with that.
Remember we fought then?
No. No, I think
Too many bumps there, like
I think I know I lost it.
Who'd you lose it to?
I lost it to Chris Cage.
Chris Cage, yeah.
Cage.
I remember him.
I don't, he does some other.
He's a big face when he is.
Yeah, he does another gimmick.
As well as HEW, then at the time you worked for Bolt's WWO.
Yeah.
What did you do on that show?
Well, I turned up and I was only there with John because we're going to UCW after. So
Yeah.
we did Gangster Show in the evening.
Yeah.
And there was a gimmicky battle royally thing. What are they called? Like gauntlet match.
Yeah.
And it was loads of young trainees. And even though I'd only been like a year in, I was probably the most experienced guy, probably at the time.
Yeah.
That's where I first met Scouts and Ham.
Yeah.
And there was another couple of Celtic trainees, a tall guy, Nick.
Yeah.
And Nick Barley was on.
So it was a battle royal.
Battle royal thing, but it was like so we had like 5 minutes for 4 of us.
Yeah.
So it was me, Ham, Scouse, and Nick. We had like 5 minutes, and then one of us lose, and then someone else would come in, and they lose, and someone else come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wasn't actually meant to be on the show, but I got on the show and did that. And then I was asked back a couple of times, and I worked John on the show a couple of times.
On boat show.
Yeah, boat show. Yeah, boat ground. Yeah, it was always.
You also done Rebel Pro, Pro EV, LWL.
Yeah.
Any memories of fights on them?
The LWL show was called. It was in Wolverhampton. They had quite a cult little following at the time, and they just did a LWL versus HCW show. So every match was HCW wrestlers versus LWL wrestlers. They put one of their tag teams had a massive feud and split up. And I watched the main match. I think it was Stevie Valentino and somebody else. I can't remember the guy's name. But they put them back together to go against me and the Bull. It was a real good match, actually. I really enjoyed it. There was loads on the card that day. Mad Dog was there. John was on. Me, the Bull. Cade. Magic was there. Magic's lot. Loads of the LWL. Real good, but it was a nice cult following. So, like, you get like the Holy Fuck chants and shit like that, and it was in this bar, so yeah, it was good. It was always good laugh.
You also done a few camps, did you?
Yeah, I did camps up for Blondie, so we'd get.
Where was that then?
So I did Great Yarmouth.
Yeah.
I did another one down south, and I also did one with T-Bone. We went to, so we did a Morecambe show as a ring hire.
Yeah. For
XWA. Then we drove that night straight to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Stayed in a wrestler's house. His name was L.T. Summers.
Right.
He wrestled in Celtic, big tall lad.
L.T. Summers, yeah.
Stayed with him. We picked up another one. On the next morning, picked up another one on the ferry. Isle of Wight. Set up. Do the show with Isle of Wight. We're there for a total of 6 hours. Back on the ferry. Back to Portsmouth. Drop them off. Then back home. All within 24 hours. So that was pretty cool. The Isle of Wight was really good.
How did you find the crowds at the camps to pub shows?
I love the camp shows.
Easier?
Do more.
Yeah.
Just.
So was you wrestling or was you managing?
I wrestled on a few. I refed on a few. Bit of everything really. I've always done anything. If I wasn't wrestling on any of the shows for John, I was always refereeing or something, or announcing. So.
Also done a lot of ring jobs with Ash Steele, T-Bone.
Yeah, man, we went everywhere. Ash was like the big ring high guy at one point, so it'd be like 1PW shows, the XWA shows, whoever really wanted his ring. So we'd get to travel. If I wasn't booked anywhere, we'd literally be in the van and going to shows. So there wasn't a Saturday for 2 or 3 years where I wasn't at a show, be it wrestling
busy,
or...
like.
Yeah, so it was good. We got our names about and stuff.
Any memorable stories on the road with them?
Mate,
which you can put on camera?
No, I could put on camera. Morecambe was always good XWA because like Ash would take us for fish and chips as well down there before the show and stuff, and we'd go to the arcades, play the punch, the punch thing.
Oh yeah.
So it was me, Ashley Steele, and T-Bone. They're all big fit guys, and me.
Right. Let me stop you. Who hit the hardest?
Me. And it got him real mad.
T-Bone, you listening to that?
It got him real mad. It got him real mad. So we had like gimmick shirts made with Ash's ring thing done, and Ash had like 3 stripes because he was the boss. T-Bone had 2, and because I pissed them off that much, we're winning. I had a golden glove.
Oh,
because I was the golden glove man. Technique.
Is Ash still doing ring, are you?
No, I don't think he is. I haven't spoken to him for ages.
I'm guessing T-Bone's not because he's NXT, isn't he?
He's a busy
still
boy.
Is,
Yeah, I know he's got a ring.
Yeah.
I know he's got one still. But I still speak to him regularly, so yeah.
Well, he was also involved in, I think it was Air versus Air match, right?
Yes, yeah, the
with,
famous match, yeah.
Was it Tony Rogers?
Tony James, yeah.
Tony James.
Tony James.
How did that go? Explain about that.
So, T-Bone really, he's mentioned it a few times on other shows, and it means a lot to him. It means a lot to all of us that were involved in it. So, he'd lost his mother, and he wanted to do a show in the local area. It was run by PCW, but he wanted to have his own match in the show and raise money for cancer research.
All right.
So I knew this guy Tony, who's a local radio presenter. So I spoke to him. I said, "Look, we're doing this show. Can we get some publicity?" So he said, "Yeah, no worries. I've got a plan." So we went on the show. We went to the studios and we did a load of recording. We got Cayman on the phone.
Yeah.
So we did like a thing, and Tony edited it all and put it on live on the put it on the show on his Sunday slot on BBC. Wyvern. Everyone was the Wyvern. I think it's the same as they have like the Wave down here.
All right. Yeah.
So it was like the Worcester's version of the Wave. And we got a lot of attention, so we wanted to bring Tony into the show as well. So he introduced the show, started all that, and then so during the match, Cayman had Tony in his corner, and I was obviously managing T-Bone, which did quite a lot.
Yeah.
match was like it was more about the meaning of what the match was and how much it meant to like personally, because I was me and T-Bone were real close, but our lives have gone like different track now. But we still speak regularly.
Yeah.
I love the man. He's like one of my favourite people. I spent so much time with him. So yeah, the match went off, and T-Bone obviously lost. But during the match, there was thumbtacks involved. I shaved half of Cayman's beard off. Cayman had that Hogan moustache in it. I shaved half of that off in the spot, so he wrestled half the match with just one half of his tash. It was really good. It was just the heat was amazing.
That match available online?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was online, because it was PCW put on.
We'll show a few pictures in a bit.
Yeah, but. So T-Bone lost the match, and then we tried to leave, and then Eugene was on the show. So we grabbed T-Bone, took him back to the ring, put him in a sleeper. They shaved his head and stuff. By this point, I'd have been booted out, so he had his head shaved. It was going off well, and then later on, they wanted to do a rumble, but they wanted T-Bone to go over.
Yeah.
To get a little pop at the end. So we found this little shit beanie. So I shaved his head properly, because it was all of a mess, right? So like proper manager, I looked after him. I took all the tacks out of his back.
Yeah.
I shaved his head properly, patched him up, proper looked after the guys I managed.
Yeah.
And we found this little fucking beanie. We don't even know where it came from. So there's some pictures of him with this real shitty little beanie on.
Yeah.
So he went over and he eliminated Eugene last. So I come flying in the ring to celebrate my guys won their rumble, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Eugene gets back in. He drops T-Bone, he kicks him in the gut, takes his hat off, so he's completely bald. But because no one was allowed to touch the hat during the whole rumble, he's bald. Drops him with a stunner. He goes out. So I'm still celebrating, not realise what's going on. I turn around and I met Nick a few times with the Celtic seminar and stuff.
Eugene,
yeah, Eugene. Well, lovely bloke. And so he drops him with a stunner. I sell the stunner like the only way he should. I flipped on my head like the Rock style. Sold it. He picked me up. He then shouted rib and gave me a wedgie, which I didn't expect. Threw me over the top, and it was just the whole show was just amazing. And to finish the show off, being the last two in the ring, it was pretty good for me. But it was more about T-Bone and what his deal was.
Well, T-Bone was recently on Kubal's Rambles. You can check it out on YouTube. And he said it was his most memorable matches. And and you know how many matches T-Bone had.
Yeah,
like you said, it had a lot of meaning, didn't it?
It was. We talk about it all the time, still every so often. Like I said, I love the bloke. I miss seeing him a day. I used to see him daily because we used to work next to each other's building. I used to work, so even when we were doing our normal jobs, I was with him most of the time. But no, it meant so much. Like I said, I thought the match was great. We all had good little spots. It's my favourite match as well. It's not just like it's my favourite match because of the meaning.
You also you went on to manage T-Bone a lot as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we did quite a bit. We brought Heatherwick in then. And they were the loose cannons, and we did little jobs here and there and stuff. We did a couple of shows for PCW. Heatherwick had just come back from Lance's school, and they put him straight to top of the bill. So I was managing Heatherwick against like Johnny Storm in main events and stuff. So it was really good. Yeah, I was shocked to be up there, but then I learned from it all and took everything in from it. So
you also wrestled a wrestler called Hubert. Was it HCW charity show?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, HCW charity.
What was the charity for? And how did that come about?
It was for a young lady called, I think her name was, if I remember, her name was Emily. She's a disabled girl, and friends of the friends been like a friend of ours that I met through wrestling. Contacted John about doing a charity show for this young girl. So John obviously accepted. We did the charity show, and then I met the guys that it was for, and I am still friends with them to this day. We speak regularly. They're some of my favourite people. We did quite a few charity shows for them. It was an amazing show, really nice venue. It was like an old boxing venue, old full, so like the rafters and stuff, seats on the top. It was lovely. I wrestled Hubert. I didn't do much in the ring. If you guys know me, you guys know. I never did much. I don't believe you have to. But I bumped off the top for that one. I think one of only 2 times I've ever bumped off the top because I didn't need to do it. So yeah, I always like doing charity shows. It means more. It means more to me. So.
You then ended up moving to Wales to live as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I moved to Wales about.
How did that come about then? Had you had enough of England, or?
My life had changed drastically. I was working and living in a pub at the time. At one point, that went pear-shaped with my partner at the time. I moved to Blackpool for like a year to live with my mum and just sort myself out. And I met somebody that I knew from down here, and relationships started. So I came down here for a woman.
And you've been here ever since?
I've been here ever since. We're now no longer together either, but I'm still here. But I like it here. So.
You've got kids as well, yeah?
Yeah, I've got 2 children. I live out the road from them, and I see them every day. So,
like you said, when you was down in Wales, then you contacted me about. I was a promoter of Celtic Wrestling at the time. You asked me to pop along to a show, which, like you said, you've been there a few times, always helped out as well.
Yeah, I think I saw you at HCW quite a few times, and we'd always chat.
Yeah, I met you at HCW, a couple of different promotions in the Midlands. But I remember the first time the show you come to, and you ended up filming a match. This is what you've been telling me.
Yeah.
Me and versus came out, innit?
So
that's probably the night before I took over promoting.
Yeah, I think, and you approached me afterwards. So I was in the area, and I think I messaged somebody, said, look, can I come down? I think it was either you or Kay, and I said, can I come down and watch the show? Yeah, more than welcome coming down. I feel that's the best way to do it. If you're going to watch a show, you know, the workers, always ask the promoter, and I've always done it. I think it's a respect thing. I did to everyone I went to. Ask the promoter, so I sent a message. And I said, yeah, come on down, and I said hello to everyone. I think there was some filming going on beforehand, maybe. Was there like a
TV program,
a music video thing?
Yeah, music video.
So everyone was there from the wrestling scene, so literally everyone was there. And I think we were out.
I think you filmed me and Cayman, and I think I was the night I won the heavyweight. Cayman finished.
It was.
I was the promoter the next day. So how did you come managing? Did you contact me or I contact you? I can't remember.
After I filmed the show, I filmed your match because all I know is the way the start was going to go, because you said just make sure you get the start, because it was
the opening.
The opening second, you destroyed him in the opening second, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to watch this match and film it and not react because I'm filming it for you.
Yeah.
And then you do a rolling Samoan on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm about 3 foot away from it.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, you're going to kill him. The match was ace, by the way. And then I think I gave the camcorder back. We had a chat, whatever. Yeah. And you were sat down talking with maybe Recall, maybe. And you said, look, do you want to come in and manage me?
Yeah.
Because you're in the area now. And I was like, yeah, because let's do it. It was nice to be asked to come in and do it.
Like I said, I remember you was always at shows. You're a lovely guy, you know what I mean? Helpful.
To do.
And then we started talking to me and just kicked it off. But the first time you appeared as my manager was at Celtic Carnage. It was August 2009. And I don't know if you remember this, but we fought Captain Jack Swallows.
Yes, we did. Yeah, the first match. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Do you remember much about it?
I know I was like back when I was then. Celtic was one of the big places you wanted to go and work. You know, Celtic was a big hot venue, a big hot promotion at one point. So I was landed to be that, and the fact that I was asked to come and manage. And most people know me. I prefer managing. I think I did my better work as managing. I got paid more money managing normally.
Yeah.
So to come in and manage the champ straight away was a big deal for me.
Do you remember where the show was? Was it Aberfan?
I think it was Aberfan, yeah.
And that was Swallows.
Swallows, yeah.
So we would have been heels then.
We were straight heels, because you just beat Cayman as well. I think it was like a month later maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't long,
straight heels, and it just worked, didn't it? I feel like it just worked. I had the suit on.
Looked the part.
You were the Riot Man, and it just worked.
I think after our next show then, I remember me and you, I can't remember if you come up with the idea on me, that Chris Rico was fighting me for Amanda's an handicap match.
Yes.
And me and you come out with cigars, bottles of champagne. Do you remember anything like that?
Yeah, I think you just needed a break one night. And I got to the venue, I said, what are we doing tonight, champ? Because I always referred to my guys who were champions, champ.
Yeah.
what are we doing tonight, champ? And he's like, you like got to your bag and went, I got these. It was like 2 bottles of champagne. So what we do with them?
Cigar.
And then he put a pack of cigars out. He said, right, the deal is we're going to sit on the stage the whole night
Wine recall.
and just wine recall up. But then we kind of stayed there. But we legit drank the champagne.
Yeah.
The smoking ban was in. The cigars were on.
Yeah.
You know, you know the guy that had a
I
van
think
was
my most favourite times in Celtic. I mean,
Yeah, well, I
it was
think-
just so relaxing, just being ourselves and having a laugh.
Sugar was with us.
I think Regal beat us up at the end, but
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was. We'll have to get the footage. It was quality because we were just
Yeah.
literally having a blast. We were just talking, just normally, just chilling, drinking champagne out of a bottle, and smoking
I
cigars.
should have went stage. We just ignored the masses, like playing cards.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we had cards on the
Rico
go.
was looking, Rico, like as if he was boring us.
Yeah, Method of Madness was just smashing him up. Yeah, I think it was just it was good. That was one of my favourite nights ever because it was just a good laugh and it was like spontaneous. And
But
we didn't really
I don't know how you feel, because like we was heels down there, but then if I went to the Gurners Club in Murphy, we was faces,
Mate, I love the
and
Gurners.
they loved us up there, didn't they? And
Gurners was huge. Yeah.
we had a match. It was me and Sweet Sugar and yourself versus Death Row Rico. Do you remember much about that one? So I sure used to end up fighting with Johnny James was managing them.
Was that the night with Johnny James or
I think because you wrestled a few managed me a few times.
Yeah, I think the Johnny James was you versus Recall. He brought Johnny James.
That's
in.
a different match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was getting big food for a couple of months. Didn't we?
It was an amazing feud. I spoke to Recall about it the other day. Yeah, it was real. I thought it was really hot. I thought it was really good.
So where's the one you ended up fighting with Johnny James?
That was in the
me and
Gurners as
Recall,
well.
was it?
Yeah, you and Recall and Johnny James got involved.
We're near the Gurner Street fight because we were
That
on the
was,
all.
that was it. The Gurners.
And at the
Street
end,
fight.
you
yeah,
battered
me
Johnny James.
and Johnny had a little spot. The place went bananas.
Yeah.
And then later on, after the run, we did that quite a big run with it, didn't we? Me and you, champ.
How did you find going from Eel in one venue to like I think on the one show it was 3 days later.
Yeah, we were
And
faced.
then we had to turn it all around and
Yeah.
you find that easy doing that?
Now, I sometimes believe that managers shouldn't be face, but then the Gurnos, you were treated like a king, mate, weren't you? So it was proper. The
Yeah.
pop at the Gurnos was pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, 200 people. It's wild, wasn't
The I've literally what Scouse says on other shows about being called names by 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
Is fucking really true, right? I mean, I saw like cans of Coke being thrown at people. They weren't open.
Yeah.
They were smoking ban, but they were still throwing ashtrays. I mean, the place was bananas. But you got them huge pops.
Yeah.
We'd only just have to appear, and the place would go thing. So as a face manager, I didn't have to really do much unless there was somebody.
I mean, Sugar, like I said, you were pretty good on the mic. You do the talk and all that.
Yeah.
So it was good times, wasn't it?
Oh, a real good run. Probably my favourite run in one promotion was that run.
So when was your last in-ring wrestling match? Who was it against?
My last in-ring wrestling match was a charity show again. It was in a little place outside of Coventry for my friends Lisa, but John's running it.
Yeah.
And I tagged with T-Bone against Johnny the Body and a Power Ranger.
Alright. I know you got a Power Ranger on your arm, haven't you?
I got a Power Ranger tattoo, yeah.
Yeah.
Against the Power Ranger. I was pretty injured at the time, so I wanted to step away from wrestling and just concentrate on managing. So T-Bone took most of the heat for us that night. Ricky Hype was on the show, and it was, I'll tell you what day it was the day that Portsmouth beat Cardiff in the FA Cup final.
Right.
Because me and Ricky were at the back in the other bar watching the football match.
Yeah.
We were meant to be on. They brought a pastry model in to be Ricky's valet. I had a very beautiful woman manage me who was a cowgirl, who was a cowboy. So they had a little spat, so that was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was a real good show, but that was the last in-ring match I ever did, about 2008, and I think Celtic was after that. So
what made you a manager? Did you follow Bobby the Brain and all that growing up?
I still think he's the best personality that's ever been in wrestling.
Outstanding, really.
I think there isn't many people better. I can watch him still to this day. I like the psychology of the managers. There's quite a few amazing ones. Like Freddie Blassie was amazing. And I just feel like sometimes I wasn't good enough to be in the ring, but I was good enough to be in the match as a manager. So
that's all entertainment.
I preferred it, and like I said, I always got more heat as a manager. I did less work as a manager, and I got paid more. So I was more than happy for those things. That's why, like now at 37, I'm able to still have a go now. So
when was that last match? It was about 2008.
2008 was my last official wrestling match.
You kept on managing till 2010 to
Yeah, 2010.
Celtic come to an end.
Yeah.
What happened then? You went to start a family?
I did, yeah. I went to start a family. I went to start a family, concentrated on my normal job, and just stepped away really, but kept in contact with quite a few guys. So I think we've always spoken, like all birthdays and stuff and scouts.
So 2010, did you continue wrestling, or did you start playing rugby then?
No, I didn't. No,
You didn't play rugby?
I didn't. I literally didn't do anything after I'd finished managing. I kind of, I needed a break, you know. So I got a little bit poorly in the middle of it all. People don't know. I got a little bit poorly.
Right.
My life took a drastic change because my health did.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed with this really weird condition. And had a bit of treatment and stuff, and it's taken me like 8 years to get back to where I am now. So
You alright now? Yeah.
yeah. It's just one of those ongoing things. I've got something called Graves' disease,
Right.
which sounds really scary, but it's not. I haven't got they killed my thyroid with
Right.
radiation and stuff.
Oh, right.
So I haven't got like a metabolism or anything, and my organs are pretty rubbish. My hair fell out.
No, never.
So, but yeah, it is what it is.
2015, then you got involved with comedy and wrestling podcasting, you know?
Yeah.
How
So,
did that go come about that?
so my old friend Tony James, when we did the hair versus hair match with,
He's the Robbie Williams tribute,
he's Bobby Williams. Yeah, he's
Robbie
a professional
Williams,
entertainer for a living. A very, very good one. Very good friend of mine. Probably don't speak to him enough now. But he said he's a massive wrestling fan. He started a podcast, and he'd had a couple of guys on, and one of them cancelled on him. So I literally had a message saying, "Can you do me a favour? If I ring you up on Skype, can we talk about WrestleMania?" And it was the one where Warrior got inducted. And I said, yeah, no problem. So we talked for half an hour about WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania, which Warrior came out and did this speech.
Yeah.
So during this, I basically said during the speech, I said I wasn't that much of a fan of Warrior, to be honest. I know. And then,
my favourite.
So we filmed it and stuff, and then about an hour later we found out he died, right?
Oh shit!
So we changed that and stuff. I didn't think. I just said looking back at his work, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
I understand why they did what he did, but then he passed away, so we had to change it. So we put the show out, and he got really good ratings and stuff. He said, "Can you do next week?"
Yeah.
And then it was like, "Can you do next week?" And then next week, and it just carried on, and I became the other host with him.
So what sort of comedy did you do in it?
So we did the wrestling one, the midweek wrestle chat, which really took off, and I mean really took off. We'd even had like an email from WWE saying we really like what you're doing, and then we started like using Twitter and like started talking to guys. So like Rowdy Piper would talk to us about our show and like our show, and then we just get Twitter became stupidly crazy.
Yeah.
Hogan, they all started getting in on what we were doing, and then we decided to do a comedy one because we'd have people listen to our wrestling show who weren't wrestling fans because of the stick we had together.
Yeah.
So we then did a live show called Carnage.
Right.
A live show, and it's just me and him.
Yeah.
Talking basically just shit.
Yeah.
Just two old blokes talking shit, really. And it was getting really, really well. Now, I think when it came out on iTunes, we were straight into the new and noteworthy. We were like top 2 in the new and noteworthy. So as soon as you would go on iTunes, our faces were on there. We did that for about 2 years. It was just...
How did he come to the end then?
He got so busy because of his job, because he was Bob Williams, he was getting real famous.
Yeah.
He started filming, he did one of the Keith Lemon TV shows as well.
Right.
He's friends with Keith Lemon. He got so famous and busy, we just stopped.
Yeah.
However, he is doing it again now. I know he's got a show called Jumbo, which is really good, and he's doing a bit of game and stuff. So we still speak and stuff, and I know he's doing really, really well. But we had this amazing run of about 2-3 years, which was it was time consuming. I had a young kid at the time.
It's fitting it all in.
Fitting everything in. So
back to wrestling. What do you make of the current Welsh and UK wrestling scene?
Well, since I've come back
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Because like you said, it's all up in the air.
Pre-COVID, it's I didn't really watch much of it. Until recently. So I bumped into Smurf, Papa Smurf.
Yeah, Daniel Wint.
And he dragged me down to a session before the COVID thing.
Right.
So I've had to learn the scene quite a lot lately, quickly. I think there's a lot of promotions in Wales.
Yeah.
There's a hell of a lot of promotions in Wales.
Yeah.
And I think there's a hell of a lot of put on just because the mates are putting you on. I think the the art of working is missing
Yeah.
real badly. I think everyone's just doing too much. They're not abiding by less is more. They've forgotten how to work. They just want to do move after move after move. I think the entertainment side has died of it a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the crowd's on there. I think the entertaining part is the biggest part. Like wrestling's a circus, isn't it? So you've got your juggler, you've got your tightrope walker. You know, there's a bit for everybody. I mean, I've watched a couple of shows on YouTube, and there's not been any comedy in some of the shows.
No.
I think that's a massive part of wrestling. There's got to be a bit of everything. So I think there's a lot missing.
Yeah.
But there is also a lot of real good stuff. There's new good young guys coming through that are really eager to learn.
What do you think of the current NXT UK? And you mean boys that you know, and you've been around and gone all the way. And
it's crazy, yeah, to think that some of the guys that we used to have, like, I think one of the last shows we did on Celtic, I think me and you and Maine were really cool.
Yeah.
And I think Pete Dunne wrestled Mark Andrews on the first.
Yeah.
So, like, just that's crazy in itself.
So many
Hitch,
Garvin.
I thought Hitch was a great talent back then. I like Hitch. We only talked briefly. But no, all the guys that have done so well, fair play to them, they've kept at it. I mean, I always think sometimes, like, I know I'm not a star, I never was at the thing, but imagine if I hadn't stopped when the guys that I've worked that were still going, like the Dave Mastiffs, the T-Bones, like the guys that I was around a lot, Spud, who's obviously amazing, like those guys I was around them all the time.
And only I mean, you may have gone in as a manager. I mean, that's I still think they're missing.
I
There's
personally
not many
think they're
managers
missing. I've recently reconnected with Gilligan Gordon.
Yeah.
We bumped into each other at Cardiff NXT.
I was there,
Yeah.
Gilligan,
And I didn't know that his first ever match was with me.
All right.
He sent me the footage.
Yeah.
God awful. I was god awful. I think I was about my 4th or 5th match, right? Terrible.
Yeah.
But that was his first ever match, and I was still shocked that he wasn't with them, because I think he's the best manager in the UK.
Yeah,
without a doubt, I think he's the best manager, and I very much look up to him. His character book's amazing.
He took a bump once in I was fighting Death Row in Cardiff, 10,000 thumb tags, and the bump, it's on video if you go on YouTube, the bump he took, and his face expressions, he's up there.
I love him. He's a great man. He's a good lad.
If you had a chance to wrestle any wrestler, past or present, who would it be?
Any ever wrestler? Ever?
Anyone? WWE,
Anyone.
AEW? This one wrestler, who would it be?
That's a real tough question. I like. Well, it's a tough one, buddy. Jake the Snake, maybe.
Jake the Snake.
I think his psychology is one of the best I've ever seen.
What do you think of his current AEW? Have you watched it?
I don't really watch that much of the AEW. I've seen some of the stuff that he does. I think the man's a genius, and WWE missed on him creatively years ago. But obviously, he wasn't in the right place. Do you know what? That's a real tough guy. Jake, maybe because of psychology. Dusty Rhodes. Yeah. I think Dusty's one of the best faces ever.
Who's facing Jake? Heel Jake or face Jake?
Face Jake, yeah.
Face Jake.
Face Jake.
So
yeah, without a doubt. I think that would have been amazing. Face Jake. Seriously, Face Jake was so good. I don't think he really was a face or a heel, was he? So.
Yeah. You still stay in touch with any wrestlers?
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I speak to T-Bone once or twice a week, check on how he's doing. Scouse. Speak to Scouse. I think everyone speaks to Scouse to make sure he's alright. Yeah. Yourself. Dangerous Danny Owens. Can't get rid of him. Yeah. Gilligan. I spoke to Gilligan recently. Cayman every now and then. Yeah, so I always try and keep in contact with the guys that were really nice to me. So
is there anything on your bucket list? One thing you'd like to do?
Wrestling wise.
Or anything?
Anything. Yes. So I've decided I want to come back to wrestling for one reason, and so my son can watch me wrestle, because he still doesn't believe I used to do it.
That's awesome.
So I want it.
Any plans to do it?
Yeah. I think it's been.
Is it under wraps, or
I think.
Say no?
I think it's been quite well documented. We've got some stuff out there.
I've been too long, I'm glad to be back. Yes, I'm let loose from the news. That's
decided I was kind of asked to do something to help promotion out, because I'm big into training guys at the moment.
Yeah.
And trying to teach them how like the work inside.
That's Royal Imperial Wrestling.
Yeah, so I was asked to go and help train some of their guys and stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
Just to be back in it. And then another promoter asked me can I manage Danny for his shows when the COVID thing's over.
Yeah.
And he said, maybe can we have you wrestling in like a tag match as a manager?
Yeah.
Because he's got some young guys that need a bit of guidance and stuff. I said, I'll do better than that. Well, for you, just for you.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
I'll just wrestle as a tag team with Dan. Right?
Yeah.
I can't do much. I'm getting on. You know, I'd help him with some work, all right? Then all of a sudden, it's just snowballed into this huge thing.
Yeah.
And BXB are coming. We're going to take over the Welsh wrestling scene.
Awesome.
So.
It'd be nice to see for your kid to see you, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, that's what it's about. But as long as he sees me as a face, you know, because I'm going to be an asshole, to be honest, when I'm wrestling as a heel. So.
Right, before we wrap it up, I'm going to give him a few different names. Just give me a few words about each. That's
Okay.
All. So, Kate Carlos.
Complete gent, always looked after me. Yeah, like Cade, nice lad.
Mad Dog Mags.
Threw me out of every Rumble for about 6 months. Every Rumble. And thought one night I killed John wrestling him, but I didn't.
Ash Steele.
Actually still, travel with him loads. Miss him, don't talk to him enough. What a dude, real. Some stories that we're not going to put on here.
Johnny the Body.
He's the guy that gave me my start, so always grateful for that.
Chris Pepperwick.
Chris Petherick, Mr. Heat I call him, because he hates everybody, but he doesn't really. It's just a gimmick, right? You'll hate me for saying that. I love Petherick. I think he's brilliant. I love speaking to Petherick.
Chris Rico.
Chris Rico, probably part of my best run in wrestling. I think he super kicked me every week. Didn't he super kick me like every show? Even when I managed him, he super kicked me like every show. So
Cayman.
Cayman, one of the nicest people I've ever met in wrestling. I'm always there for him if he ever needs me.
Scouse.
Same again, Scouse. I love Scouse. He's one of the nicest guys. He knows where I am if he ever needs me. Ham. The Jesse Gilbert story. You know the Jesse Gilbert story when that at the Gurnos where someone threw a can at him and he went absolutely bananas. I was standing right by the door. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. I love. Yeah, Ham's wicked.
Sweet Sugar.
I wrestled Sugar 3 or 4 times, and one of the nicest people to work. I love Sugar. Everyone loves Sugar, don't they? Always like a hug with Sugar.
Last but not least, Danny Owens.
Danny Owens. Me and Danny have got this weird story where we didn't really know each other, but we knew each other. And then we met each other in a hospital waiting room about 12 months ago because his daughter was born the week after mine. So we had scans at the same time. It's quite a unique story. He's dragged me back into wrestling, kicking and screaming. Can't speak highly enough as a bloke. Become real close friends, and we're going to take over the Welsh wrestling scene.
Great stuff. Looking forward to seeing you. Aron, it's been a pleasure, mate.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very
Good
much.
to see you, my friend.
And good luck in the future.
Thank you.